More of the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back in. 4:15 is the time from the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios on this Tuesday. Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show right here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. 609-919-9200 is the telephone number if you want to hop on board. A lot of hoops talk in this area these days with the disaster state of the New York Knicks and then also the potential success of the Philadelphia 76ers. So we figured to bring on a man that played for both the Knicks and the Sixers and had a lot of success. That is, of course, Henry Bibby, the 1973 NBA champion with the Knicks, went to 2 finals with the Sixers, and then before playing professional basketball, won 3 NCAA championships at UCLA, now doing great work with Dribble Pro 3-in-1 training, and Henry Bibby is kind enough to join us right now on the Zach Gelb Show. Henry, appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for the time, and how are you?
Zach, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I love talking basketball the whole time. That's great.
Well, the cool thing about you, and you see the game from so many different angles, as a player, as a coach, and also having a son that played basketball, being a father with your son and Mike Bibby, is that there's so many young players this time of the year now coming into the league fresh off the draft. And in Philadelphia, that's been the patience that these fans had to do for a lot of years, and they're going to start seeing some of these young players play. Ben Simmons this upcoming year, Markelle Fultz as well, and Joel Embiid is still very young in his career. How do you currently view the Sixers and some of the young pieces that they have, Henry?
Well, I think it's so intriguing what the Sixers organization has done, and I must applaud the fans in Philadelphia who have stuck with the Sixers during this tough time. But, obviously they have a plan. Obviously they have some very good young players for the future. And it's tough to build that way because everyone wants to build. You look at the Lakers. The Lakers want to trade a lot of their young guys away to get a winning team right now. But I think with the staying power and the financials growing more in the NBA, hopefully they'll be able to keep, top players like Simmons and all those guys and the new players that are coming in and have that championship team within 2 to 3, 4 years. I think that's what could happen in Philadelphia. They have a solid base of very, very good players. But, it took a lot of courage to do something like that.
I know that they just drafted Markelle Fultz at point guard, and he's going to be playing some off-ball situations as well because Ben Simmons, who's 6'10", is also going to be handling the ball, and they've used the term point guard to define him. Just how about the different definitions now of the term point guard and how it's changed over all these years, Henry?
Well, years ago, a point guard was only a point guard. He ran the club. He wasn't the guy who really shot the ball outside. He put everybody where they should be on the floor. That's what I did. That's what Maurice Cheeks did. People like that did that years ago. But now it's totally different. You have 3, 4 guys that can bring the ball down the floor and get you into your offense. The game has changed drastically over the years. And I think, Mike D'Antoni started to change that with what he's been doing in the way of playing, 3 or 4 guys that can play the same position, do the same thing. Golden State exemplified that this year, having 4 or 5 guys that can play the same position. So there's no point guard anymore, really, so to speak. It's guys that can bring the ball down, dribble, hand off, come off pick and rolls, and shoot the basketball one-on-one. So the game has changed drastically from years ago of having a pure point guard opposed to having, players that just play. Guys were a little smaller back in my day, and now you look at Kevin Durant bringing the ball up 6'10". You look at Simmons bringing the ball up the floor at 6'10". So these guys have grown, and they're athletic, and the old dinosaur big guy who can't run anymore doesn't exist. And I think Dwight Howard was one of the best players in the NBA for a long time, and right now you can't even find Dwight Howard because it's kind of gone away from him. It's not that he's not good, but they don't walk the ball up the floor and just throw it inside and let these guys play anymore. They make 3 or 4, 5 passes, 3 or 4 dribbles, then they throw it into a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" that can do more things than a big center can do with it. So it's interesting the way it's changed.
What can you tell me? I know that you're on the West Coast now. What can you tell me about Markelle Fultz? Maybe you got to see him a little bit more than we have.
Well, I saw him play quite a bit this year, and the guy doesn't play like a freshman. He doesn't play like he's 18, 19 years old. Very, very talented, very skilled, can do a lot of things with the basketball, can score at his size of 6'5", 6'6". He's a very, very good athlete. Has a lot of confidence in his game. Everybody lacks a little defense, I guess, but you talk about an offensive player that can get you points. And 1 year removed from high school, this is how good this kid can be. Hopefully, the key is him staying healthy. The key of all these guys is staying healthy. You look at Simmons last year was not healthy. So if these guys stay healthy and keep growing, the limit is unbelievable for them.
You mentioned that he's only 1 year removed from high school after only spending 1 year at Washington, and that's allowed now because of the one-and-done rule that's been so well documented. As a former player that went through the lengthy college career and had a lot of success, how do you view this one-and-done rule now in college basketball?
It's just changed. It's a league of youth now. It's a league of one guys, two guys that have been in the league for 1 or 2 years. That's what it's down to. How many guys were drafted this year that had played 4 years? Probably 3 to 4 guys. I think it was one guy from one guard from maybe Villanova.
Yeah, Villanova,
like
Josh
that.
Hart.
Yeah, the only guy played 4 years that I can remember. Everybody else, the first round, I think there were 16 freshmen that were picked. So they're going to younger, talented players now, and kids are getting out for the money. They're paying so much money. Why stay around? My kid, got out early. Mike got out early, went back to school and got his degree. So they can go back and get their degree, but the money is here now for them to go and get it. And it's something they've wanted to do their whole life is play in the NBA. How do you turn down the opportunity? You can't turn down the opportunity.
Here's what I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of people that have been critical of Markelle Fultz, they'll look at him and say he played 1 year in college and only won 9 games. How could he be the number 1 overall pick? You had more college success than anybody with the amount of times that you won at UCLA. So how much did your college experience translate to the NBA level, and how essential is that college experience for success?
Well, I think it's very, very important. I know that I couldn't have gone into the NBA and played, but I could have gone in the NBA and played if everybody was basically a freshman and you only had 2 or 3, 4 years in the league. I could have played against guys like that, but I went in. You're playing against guys who played in the league 6, 7, 8 years, who has more maturity than you, more physical attributes than you. So, I think if a kid, can stay in, 4 years, I think is great for him to develop physically, but you're not going to find anybody doing that anymore. Again, they're paying these guys a lot of money to come out after the year. I think there was one player that didn't start, averaged 4 points a game. I think it was a kid from UCLA. 4 points a game, like 4 rebounds a game. He goes late first round or something like that. So, you're getting drafted on your potential. These guys, these teams have people out that are scouting every day. They're looking at these guys every day. They're seeing how athletic they are, and this is what's happening. It's just all that has changed the way of maturity. The teams want to get players and see them mature in front of them, or they get them for a trade or two down the road. You look at the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell, I think is a very, very good basketball player. I think he has a chance to be an all-star player in this league. After 1 year, the Lakers trade him off. He's his second or third pick in the draft, I think, a year or so ago, maybe, and the kid's traded off. So it's a league now where they're taking the most skilled athletic players that they see, and they're playing with them. That's what they're doing, and kids are developing in the league now. They're not developing in college anymore because they're not staying there. So they're going to the NBA, and the NBA teams are gambling on these kids. They're going to be good the first year, and if they see they can to move them and get something better to win, then that's what they do. So the bottom line is basically winning in the NBA.
Henry Bibby with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. All right, let's look back at your career. Let's start with Philadelphia. Reminisce a little bit about the 2 final trips and also just your time in Philadelphia playing with a lot of great players.
Philly is kind of like New York. The fans really know the game of basketball, and I really got a chance to play in Philadelphia, which like you say, two finals. We didn't pick up one when I was there, but it was like a sideshow. People would want to see, World Be Free, and when he changed his name, and they wanted to see Chocolate Thunder, and they wanted to see the greatest player to come out of the ABA in Julius Erving, and George McGinnis was one of the best players to come over from the ABA as well. So people would come to see that show, and I remember there's probably no other show bigger than the Sixers at the time. Was Magic Johnson and his show, Showtime with the Lakers. I don't think there's been any other team that stands out more than the team I played in Philadelphia. Great city to play in. Like I said, I really enjoyed being in Philadelphia, and my career really blossomed in Philadelphia more than anything. Gene Shue gave me an opportunity to come in and start, which I was a sub in New York. I was sub in New Orleans, and I got an opportunity to play, 3 or 4 years starting in Philadelphia. So it was a great time, and I still have a lot of relationships from people in Philadelphia, from the players that play with me in Philadelphia. And sad that a couple of my buddies have passed on, but I have the memories of all those great days and great years of playing in Philadelphia and living there.
Everyone that has played on those Sixers teams, and we've had a lot of those guys on, they always have a very good Dr. J story. What's your Dr. J story?
Well, the only Dr. J story I have is from my brother. My brother, in exhibition season, we were playing the New Jersey Nets, and my brother said, "Hey man, you have to see this guy, Dr. J, play." He said, "You've never seen anybody play like this in their life." So I said, well, I didn't think the ABA was so good at the time, and I knew we had Dave DeBusschere. So Dave DeBusschere was the lockdown guy for us. So they meet, and Julius just played. You could see how great this guy was going to be. And he just come in, and he would swoop in, he would dunk, and everybody was just in awe of who he was. That's kind of my story with him, but and playing with him every day, and getting involved with his family, and knowing his kids and knowing him on a first-hand basis. He's one of the greatest people I've ever met. Just a great human being. And I just, the memories of just having dinner with him and talking basketball and trying to listen to him. He used to try to blow a horn. We were good friends with Grover Washington. So I would go to his house, and he would blow. He wanted, a guy like Dr. J, who's great, thinks he can do everything. So he would he played his horn, and he was so bad playing the horn. I couldn't tell him how bad he was. I hope he gets this and tell him how bad he was trying to play the horn, because we are, like I say, we're all good friends with Grover Washington, but just a bad horn player, okay? But, great as he was, the guys think they can do everything. You sit there and listen to it, so that's kind of my story with Doc, okay?
Come on, you couldn't have been a good teammate and say, you got to stop doing that, you Julius. Come on.
I wanted to, but he was feeding me that night, okay?
Okay. You don't want him to mess up your food. Wrap it up with Henry Bibby right now.
My dinner with you.
Yeah, Dribble Pro 3-in-1 training. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's head up the turnpike, though, right now, and let's get into the New York Knicks. Your former teammate now running the show in New York, in Phil Jackson, and they've been a disaster. Just your reaction and your thoughts right now on the current state of the Knicks.
Well, I think you got to trade Carmelo. I think he's had his stay. He's a great player. I know the money is the problem, but they haven't won with him, and I think it's time to let him go and move on and let him find another home. He's a great player. What I read about him, they talked about getting rid of him, and when you ever talk about getting rid of a player that he doesn't fit, then obviously he's going to probably go for you, or he's not going to play for you anymore. So I would say, the Knicks start anew, start fresh, part ways with Carmelo. He's done a great service for the Knicks. He's played well, throughout his career. Just hasn't won. I mean, it's just a tough situation. He probably hasn't had the guys around him that can help him win. You got to put people around different people. So I don't blame him so much. but he's a great player, and he deserves to have one more shot of trying to win a title. Very similar to what Kevin Durant does. So hopefully, I hope Carmelo can get out of there and go on and keep having a great career like he's having, because he's a great player. I think he's a great person. It's just the situation's not right for him anymore. That's all.
And it's becoming a very messy divorce, and a lot of that is on Phil, just because the way that he's not communicating enough effectively. And I look at just Phil, and you see this being a habitual problem now in the organization with Porzingis and everything that's transpired and the lack of communication there, and also Carmelo Anthony. It's just tough to really understand this, because you look at a guy with Phil Jackson who has 11 rings, and it seems as he's being very much incompetent now with the Knicks. So just how do you explain the lack of communication and those problems with Phil Jackson right now?
Well, my whole thing, again, I've been around this game a long time, and it's looking at it from the outside looking in, you need a bridger. You need someone that's going to step in the gap, take Carmelo, and love him, and love those guys on the team. You got to have coaches that are going to do that. It's not Phil Jackson's role, in my estimation, for him to go and have to love the guys. It has to be coaches and other people that are on staff that get these guys to play. Find out what the problem is and solve the problem and keep moving on. Phil's job, I think, should be to look at the whole situation, evaluate the whole situation, kind of stay removed and let the coaches do what they need to do. But they need someone that will talk to Carmelo, love him, hug him, and get him doing the things that he needs to do more within the framework of the team. And I think they would be okay.
All right, Henry, before we let you run, Dribble Pro 3-in-1 training, tell me everything that you're up to now these days.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm really happy with that. I have a nonprofit that I'm running for at-risk homeless kids to, putting on basketball clinics for them. But my 3-in-1 basketball tool, it gets back to the roots of learning how to play basketball. It teaches you. You have your own coach. You have your own clinic every day with Henry Bibby, teaching you how to dribble the basketball the correct way, how to get balance with your feet and your body, self-discipline it teaches you how to hold the basketball, to shoot it correctly, to get the proper spin on it, and it teaches you how to be in balance to rebound. So Henry Bibby has turned into Dr. Naismith of 1891. That's what he's turned into, okay? So I've invented this basketball. I'm happy with it. And I think if there's a dad or mom out there who want their kids to get the edge, to take a look at this basketball, dribblepro.com, you can go find it. And within a day, it will improve your way of thinking of playing basketball. I guarantee you that. If not, money back, okay?
Hey, I love it. If you want to make a lot of millions off this, maybe you should FedEx one to the Knicks, because they could use it these days.
Well, they're paying those people a lot of money to solve that problem. They don't pay me any to solve it, so they're on their own to solve their problem.
Hey, just on the way out with Henry Bibby, who joins us right now. What's your son up to these days? I think he's playing in that tournament, the league right now with Ice Cube, right?
It's a 3-on-3 he's playing in. It's it's going to be good for him. He's still excited to get back into the league. There's another league that's supposed to be coming out that's going to be 5-on-5. That's going to be really good as well for those guys. So it's taking guys that's been out. It's going to help them make some adjustments to their life outside of basketball, which is going to be great.
You being a former player, just because this has been such a big topic on Sports Talk Radio, and also having a son that had a lot of success in the NBA and also on the college level, how do you view this whole LeVar Ball situation and the way that he's handling his kids?
They say father knows best. Remember that old TV show years ago? Father knows best. So he's doing what he thinks is best for his kids. I can't, I don't live in his family. I don't live in his house. So I don't know, he's selling the product. He's selling the brand. If the kid is okay with that and the dad is okay with that, who am I to judge on what he's doing with his family? So, I support him and, do what he needs to do for his kids. That's what he's doing. He's done it probably his whole life, and he's probably living a little bit through his kids now, and he's promoting a brand. That's what he's doing. It's a business. He understands that it's a business, and he's helped his kids understand that, and his kids are okay with that. So he's going to end up making millions being who he is. That's who the dad is.
Well, Henry, we appreciate it once again. Dribble Pro 3-in-1 training. Make sure to check it out. Henry Bibby here on the Zach Gelb Show. We appreciate it, Henry.
Thanks, Zach.